Okay, hello everyone. I hope I'm live now and I hope I'm visible. And just let me know in comments if I am audible as well so that we can proceed. Okay, great. Okay, so hello Hemant, hello. Yeah, guys, so let's wait for a few minutes and then we will start. And good evening. Hi everyone. Okay, basically we are going to understand from scratch how exactly we can create CI/CD pipelines over GitHub Actions, and we are going to focus mainly to understand what exactly happens, like how exactly it works, and why we should be using GitHub Actions, and how it's we are going to compare it also with Jenkins. Okay. I'm sorry, little bit sick today. Hello everyone. Okay, let's wait one more minute and then we will start. Okay. Yes, I'm fine, SKS. Okay, so let me share my screen and then we can start. Okay, let me know if my screen is visible. Guys, please confirm if my screen visible so we can proceed. Okay, great. So let us proceed from scratch. First of all, during old days, one of the most widely used CI/CD tool was Jenkins, right? But let us understand, see, there are tons of pros also for Jenkins, but there are a few cons uh, with respect to Jenkins that we need to understand. For example, if you want to use Jenkins, what you have to do, you have to set it up. When I say we have to set up Jenkins, that means you have to have a virtual machine where you are going to set up Jenkins master, and there will be second virtual machine which you are going to make as an agent or slave, right? And you can understand ki if you are taking separate virtual machines, it's going to be costly for you, right? Secondly, maintenance. Maintenance is required. That means we have to monitor, we have to make sure that Jenkins is running all the time without any kind of issues. That is like up to us, right? These are the two main things with respect to Jenkins that can be considered as a con. But when we talk about creating CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Actions, these problems are gone, because without paying a single rupee or dollar, you can create your complete CI/CD pipeline. You don't have to invest any money. If you want to start creating the CI/CD pipeline, you don't have to invest money, right? Secondly, maintenance. So for maintaining the GitHub Actions, we don't have to worry about it. We just have to worry about writing the pipeline. GitHub Actions, since it is a inbuilt feature with GitHub, it's a cloud native feature at this point. So it's being maintained by GitHub team only. We don't have to worry about it. We just have to worry about writing the pipeline. Okay. One more thing that you should know with respect to these two, Jenkins, as you know, the pipeline in Jenkins we write in Groovy language, which is not very easy to master. But when we talk about writing pipeline in GitHub Actions, we write it in YAML, which is very simple to read and understand, right? So in total ways, you can understand that GitHub Action is at this point one of the best option to use to create the CI/CD pipeline with. And at this point, most companies, actually newer companies or newer projects, they are proceeding with using GitHub Actions or GitLab CI/CD instead of Jenkins. Okay, so now, as I told you, ki when you're talking about GitHub Actions, you don't have to pay any single money, right? But there is an option. For example, see, one thing that you should know, when you are working with Jenkins, there was a concept of slave. Slave was what? It's a machine where you are going to perform all the things, like you are going to perform the building, deployment, all the things you are going to run on the slave. Slave is what? It's just like a VM only that we connect to our Jenkins master, right? In case of GitHub Actions, what happens? Two kind of slave you can have. Slave, in case of GitHub Actions, instead of calling it as a slave, we are going to call it as runner. Okay, why runner? Because that's where our pipeline will be running, that's where all the tasks will be executed. So runner can also exist in two format. First one is the free runner, or you can call them as shared runner. It means that this machine where you want to build your pipeline, you want to execute your pipeline, comes completely free. Okay, it has certain limitation like number of minutes, it has limitation, but it comes free from GitHub itself. You just have to provide the kind of runner you want. For example, let's say I want to use Ubuntu machine. I want to build my or execute my pipeline on Ubuntu machine, so I just have to provide the name Ubuntu latest, and my pipeline will be executed on this free Ubuntu machine. Okay, but in companies sometimes it is preferred that instead of using shared runner, what we do in companies, we can bring our own virtual machine and add it as a runner. So this runner we are going to call as self-hosted runner, because this machine that we are going to add as a runner will be hosted on our side, and we will be having complete control on this machine. Why we generally companies do this? Because you get complete control, plus all the privacy will be there, like whatever you are building, all the byproducts will be accessible only to you. Okay, so second option that we have is self hosted runners. Okay, again, in self hosted, since we are going to be using our own VM, so there, for the VM charges we have to pay. But again, if you want to get started, you can go with free version. Okay, free runners, you can use it for building your pipelines. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be showing you both the examples so that you can understand very clearly how exactly these works. Okay, now without wasting any time, let us jump to hands-on so that we can understand more things in detail. Okay, so this is the project, this is a 3-tier project that I have created, and this is the one that we are going to be using. Okay, so in order to get started with CI/CD pipelines with respect to GitHub Actions, what we have to do, we have to click on settings on your repository. On the left side, you will scroll down to this section which says actions. Let me zoom in a little bit. Actions, expand it, and you can see there are two options, general and runners. So we will go to runners. Okay, now here you can see there are no runners configured, because as of now we have not configured any VM as a runner. Okay, and I told you that I'll be showing you both the examples. So first of all, let me show you how you can configure a VM as a runner, right? So for that, what we need to have, a virtual machine. So I'll go to my AWS account, click on launch instance, and let us create a Ubuntu machine. I'll name it as runner. Ubuntu machine I'm taking, and version is 24.04 LTS version. Size I'm going to go with T2 medium. Keep here we can select the one that we have, and security group. So let me show you the security group, the ports that I have actually opened on my account. I can go to security group and this one. So on my account, generally I keep open these ports. These are the general ports that are like quite utilized by me. So I open these ports. Okay. Talking about storage, so I'm going to give it 30 GB of storage and launch instance. Once the machine has been created, we will connect to it. We will copy this. We will copy the public IP. And 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃, this is one of the best tool that you can use in order to communicate with your virtual machine. So I have opened this 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. It's available for free. You can use it. Click on session SSH, because we are going to connect to our VM using SSH. Okay. Provide the public IP and username. So in our case, username will be Ubuntu, because we are using Ubuntu machine, so by default username for Ubuntu machine is Ubuntu. Then we have to provide the public key, we have to provide the private key using which we can access the machine. Now if you remember, while creating the machine, I selected the key which I want to use. If I show you, if I scroll right side, you can see key name is DevOps. Okay, in case this key was not present already, you can create a new key and you can use that as well. Okay, so I can go here and click on this use private key, and I can browse to the location where I have that key present. So it is present here. I can select it. Next thing what I want to do, I'll click on this bookmark. I'll change the name of this session to runner. If you want, you can configure a color also, completely up to you. And we will click on OK. And now we are connected to our virtual machine that we just created. First command that you are supposed to run in order to get started is sudo apt update. What it's going to do, it's going to update all the packages and make them ready for usage. So meanwhile this is happening, we will go back to our GitHub. Where is it? Here, runner section. Click on self-hosted runner. Once you click on self-hosted runner, it's going to give you multiple options depending on what kind of VM you want to add as a runner. You can see Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. All three options are available. We will go with Linux. Once you select Linux, it is make sure to select the architecture also depending on what architecture you are using. Once you do that, then below side you can see all the commands are available which are required for your VM to become a runner. So first what we have to do, we have to create a directory named actions runner and we have to go inside it. So we will copy the command and execute it on our runner machine. Executed. Next step what we have to do, next step we have to download the runner package. Now this package basically contains everything that is required for a VM to become a runner. So we will download using curl command, and let's wait for this to complete. Now this package has been downloaded. Next step what we have to do, we have to, this is an optional command, so I'm just skipping this. Next thing, we have to extract the package. So we will copy this command tar xvxzf command, which is going to extract it, and let's do that as well. See, from my side I did not run any specific command. All the commands that you want to use already available on this page. 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃, it's self-hosted, then what is the benefit compared to Jenkins again? See, in companies, as I said, in Jenkins, you don't get the option to run everything freely. In GitHub Action, we do have free option, but companies sometimes prefer to have complete control over the VM. For that purpose only, we use a self-hosted VM. Okay, so once you extract it, all these files are extracted, out of which two files are very important for us: config.sh and run.sh. These are shell script, and green color basically means they are executable files. So config.sh shell script contains the command to configure this VM as a runner. Okay, if I show you the command. So first set of command we have done, which is basically to download and extract the package. Second set of command is going to be to run this shell script command with a token, so that this repository will be paired with our runner. So I will execute that. You can see authentication it has done, I guess, connected to GitHub. Now enter the name of runner group. So as of now we are not having any kind of runner group, so we will just click enter. Enter the name of runner, it's purely up to you. So I'll just provide the name as agent-1. Okay, then you can see here, enter any additional labels. Okay, the thing is key, like when you want to run specific stage on this runner, then you have to define a label also, right? So I'm just going to be providing the same name as label agent1. So next time in my pipeline, in specific stages, wherever I mention agent-1, it means that that specific stage will be running on this runner. Okay, click enter. A runner successfully added. Okay, that means now it is done. And next thing what we have, enter name of work folder, basically a folder where all the whatever things happen by products and everything will be stored in that folder. By default that directory is known as _work. If you want to change it, you can provide the name here. If not, you can simply press enter. And now our runner has been connected to GitHub. How we can confirm? We can again go to this option, runners. Here you can see runners. In runner section, we have agent 1 which we have configured, but the status is offline. Okay, so what I'm going to do, in order to start the runner, what you have to do, I told you in the beginning there was this shell script also got extracted, run.sh, and this is the script that will start the runner. Okay, before we proceed with that, I'll just remove this tar file because it's not required now. So I'll remove that. Okay, and now I'm going to start the runner by running the command ./run.sh, and this is going to start the runner and it will be ready to accept the jobs. So you can see listening for jobs, right? This is done. And now we can get started with writing our pipeline. If I refresh the page now, you'll be able to see status now idle, and it's green color. Basically means that now it's ready to accept the ready to start the jobs. Okay. Now, talking about how exactly we can get started with writing pipeline, because if I show you a sample pipeline that I wrote today only, if I show you, you can see it starts from here and it goes very long. Initially, most of you might think, okay, it might be very hard to write, but in reality, it's very easy to write pipelines of this kind. Okay, so I'll show you that as well. Okay. Also, guys, before we proceed with writing the CI/CD pipeline, just to let you know, our batch 11 starts from 30th of August. And at this point, there are tons of things that I have already included in this batch. For example, batch 10 complete access is immediately added. So if you're enroll, you'll get 120 plus hours of content directly from batch 10. Live classes will be on weekends. Python for DevOps complete videos are there. Cloud DevOps are there. DevSecOps is there with multiple security tools and concept. 40 plus projects are there. You can go through the projects in my syllabus. One-on-one interview guidance will be there. Once you interview schedule, you can connect directly to me. And then we have resume review and guidance. If you want your resume to be reviewed, you can just ping me, or we can connect also for resume. 150 interview prep documents already added, and there will be a separate Discord server for doubt support. So if interested, you can go through it and you can enroll. Okay, coming back. I don't yeah, where is it? Okay, so here we have to write it, right? But before that, one more thing I'll show you. Like previously in previous YouTube videos, I showed you how to write the pipeline in Jenkins for the same project. Okay, for example, this is the sample pipeline where we have added Node.js, we have added git clone command, we have ran the compilation command for front end back end, right? All these things are there. So we are going to convert this whole thing inside the GitHub Actions thing. Okay, now, so now in order to get started with writing the CI/CD pipeline, you have to click on Actions. Okay, once you click on Action, there will be so many different options available for you to get started with writing the pipeline. Okay, but what we have to do, we have to get start of, basically we have to get a template to get started. Okay, so I'll search here as Node.js, and let's see. Okay, you can see this option Node.js. So we will just click on configure. You can choose any option because we just need to get started with basic template. So I'll select this one, Node.js, click on configure. And what it's going to do, it's going to create a directory on your project root folder as .github. Inside that folder, there will be another folder named as workflows. And inside that, there will be your YAML file. You can see node.js.yaml. Any name you can give, it's completely up to you. Okay. And initially, what it does, it gives us a sample template, basically a sample or a very basic YAML file to get started. Okay. And now what we are going to do, we are going to modify this whole thing. So first I'll provide the name of this pipeline as CICD. Next section that you can see here, we have on push. It's basically saying that a trigger in Jenkins, we had webhook. That means that anytime we push any kind of changes to a specific branch of the repository, that will trigger the pipeline. Similar kind of scenario we have in GitHub Actions, where you can simply provide the branch name. You can see here on push. That means if anything is pushed on the main branch, it's going to trigger the pipeline. Okay, that's what it means here. Same thing we have on pull request. That means if pull request is raised with respect to main branch, then also pipeline will be triggered. Below that, we have these section jobs, and under job we are going to write all the different stages. Okay, and then we have this section. 1 second. Runs on. Right. Runs on means ki you have to define where exactly you want to run your pipeline or specific stage. For example, here it is written Ubuntu latest. If it is written like that, Ubuntu latest, this basically means that it's going to be using a shared runner or a free runner. Okay. But as I said, if initially we will be getting started with our own runner, right? We already have our own runner whose name we have configured as agent 1, and label is also configured as agent 1. If I show you again, new page, actions, runners, you can see here the name of the agent is agent 1, and there is one label also. So now if I want that my pipeline should be running on my self-hosted agent, I can simply write here as we will remove this and we will write agent dash 1. So this basically means that now this stage, this job, the build job will be running on my self-hosted agent. Okay, now here I'm going to be removing this because it's not needed. Okay, now few things we need to understand. It's better if I explain you with an example. You will be able to understand it in much better way. Give me 1 second. Okay, same thing I have written here. Now once you have defined jobs, and below that, below jobs, you have defined the job name. First we are want to perform compilation. Okay, so we provide the job name as compilation. Just remember, you have to give one tab. Okay, then we are providing the information that my pipeline should be running on my like which agent. So we have defined label of our own self-hosted agent, agent 1. Then comes the steps, what steps you want to execute in a specific job. Okay, here comes first name and uses. Now this is the most important part, uses. Okay, this is also known as actions. So let me explain you in very detail what exactly does it mean. Because in GitHub Action you will see multiple places this kind of thing, something written like that, key uses, uh, action, checkout, or something else. What basically does it mean? This basically refers to that we want to perform the cloning of the source code. You remember in Jenkins also, when you want to get started with all the stages, you have to make sure that first your source code is cloned on the slave machine or wherever you want to run. So first is supposed to happen cloning. Now, like from where exactly this is coming? So this is basically refers to a repository. If I show you this action slash checkout at the rate version 4, this is basically refers to a repository. If I show you directly, you can see here action slash checkout means this is my username, this is a username, and this is a repository. Okay, same thing you can see here, username, repository. So from here that we have written that actions checkout, from here it is picking up, and inside the repository there will be one file named as action.yaml. In any kind of actions you see, any kind of like different actions we are going to be using, all those repositories will be having this action.yaml, which basically contains the code to perform a task. Now in this case, what task is getting performed? Cloning, right? So we can add it in this format. You can see here, first we provide the name, checkout code, and here we define the action which we want to use. So as soon as you add this, it automatically basically it's going to clone the repository on the agent, so that next steps can be executed. Next thing what we have to do, since we want to perform compilation of a Node.js project, that means we need to make sure that Node.js is present. Now previously, if you remember, in Jenkins we had to install Node.js on the host, on the slave machine, in order to proceed, right? But here again you can simply add the actions of Node.js. Okay, if you're talking ki, okay Aditya, from where I can get these things, so for that also you can simply go, you can go on Google and you can search for GitHub Actions Marketplace. Once you search and click on this link, Actions GitHub Marketplace, and here you can search whatever you want to do. For example, if I search here as Node.js, and it will give you so many different options. Let me show you a better option. For example, like SonarQube. You can see this is the official one. So we will open this and you will find the steps that you can directly add in your pipeline to perform whatever you want to do. Okay, so whatever task you want to add, whatever stage you want to add in your pipeline, you can simply go on GitHub Actions Marketplace, search, and you can add it. Definitely you have to modify it a little bit in order to properly work, but all the steps and code we will be able to get it from here only. Okay, so in our case, what we have to do first, we have added actions checkout for cloning the repository. Secondly, we are going to be adding installing Node.js version we can define in this format with Node.js. Again, whole thing is basically coming from Actions Marketplace. The only thing that we have to modify is which version we want to use. So I just modified this. Rest is going to be coming from GitHub Actions Marketplace only. Okay. Next thing what we have to do, front-end compilation and back-end compilation. Now, very important command I want to explain to you here. In GitHub Actions, when you want to add any kind of shell command or direct Linux command you want to use, you can simply use this run. You can simply write like this run. If I write this, if I let's say I want to run ls command, so I can write like this. In case you have multiple commands you want to execute, so you should go with like this run a pipe symbol, then you can write ls, then cp, or whatever multiple commands you can write like this. Same thing is being done here. You can see here cd client. First we are going inside the client folder, which is the front end, and this is the command that we use in order to find if there is any kind of syntax based error inside the source code. And this is already covered in my previous video with respect to when we are creating Jenkins pipeline, right? So this thing we can directly add in our source code, in our this here. I'll just add whole thing CICD. Okay, and if I commit the changes, so what is going to happen automatically, since we have already added the trigger, that means any changes are pushed to main branch, it's going to trigger the pipeline. So if I click on commit, it's going to trigger the pipeline, and changes will be able to see by going on this actions. You can see workflow run, click on create Node.js YAML, and this is the here, and here you'll be able to monitor the progress, what exactly is happening. Okay, so compilation is done and there is no syntax based error with respect to our code, so this is fine. Next step, what we want to do, so next step, once we have performed the compilation, next step or next stage should be a git leaks scan. What is git leaks scan? It basically refers to basically a set of command, or basically git leaks a tool which is going to help you find if there is any kind of sensitive information in your source code. Sensitive information means there could be some kind of password added, there could be some kind of token, there could be some kind of API key or AWS credentials or any sensitive data. If it is present, then obviously you can understand it's not a very good thing to have, right? So we run git leaks scan in order to find if there is any kind of sensitive data added in the source code. So for that also we can add this stage. Comes the part key, okay Aditya, how do I know ki what I have to write in my stage, right? Again, I'm telling you ki if you want to write something with respect to any specific tool, for example, here we have to write with respect to git leaks. So you can simply again go here, or you can go to actions, you can search git leaks, and then you'll be able to get the complete code. Now, if you remember correctly, when we were working with Jenkins code, we wrote this command git detect, then source hyphen source, then what we want to scan, then hyphen exit code 1. Exit code 1 basically means ki if any sensitive data is found out, then abort the pipeline or just make the pipeline fail. Same thing we are doing with respect to the API folder, which is the backend, right? So basically, this is the command that we have to use in order to perform this scan. But we have to tell our GitHub Actions, okay, this is this command, the git, sorry, gitleaks command that I want to scan. It should be executed with gitleaks. That means we need to make sure that gitleaks is present. Okay, how do I make the gitleaks present? So you could use this action. You could use, you can see this again, team. It's not like rocket science. Directly you can pick up, you can see gitleaks slash, this is the username and this is the repo name and this is the release number. Okay, so if I add this in my pipeline, then my pipeline will automatically understand, okay, now we have gitleaks, and now we can proceed with the scanning of the source code, right? So first I understood, okay, this is the part I have to add. Second thing that I have to add should be this set of command which I showed you, right? And I told you run shell. If you have shell command, you could use run, and you can write multiple set of commands, right? Second stage, what I'm doing, second second step, what I have added, I'm using this. I'm just adding the GitHub. I am adding gitleaks action, so that GitHub action understand, okay, gitleaks is available. First step, you can see what I have done. Checkout. Why? Because each stage that I'm adding in my CI/CD pipeline will be executed completely separate. So if it's going to be executed completely separate, I'm going to perform the checkout again and again separately. Okay, so we can add this also, and I'll show you very interesting thing also right now. Mm, we can add this as well. Just make sure the indentations are correct, right? Okay, again, runs on agent 1, that just make sure to define so that it can run on this agent only, like our own self-hosted. So I can execute this, but I'll show you a very interesting thing right now. Sorry guys, little bit sick. Okay, one problem you are able to see ki both these stages, compile and gitleaks, started together, right? But when we are working with a pipeline, most of the stages we want that they should be uh, yes Banita. So see, I'll show you why we need to define like checkout again, because let me show you separately. Here if I go, see, because see, these are two different stages, compile and this. If I did not separately add runs on here and runs on here, then both the stages will be running on the same agent right now. Okay, by default. In that case, I don't have to run checkout, but here, like, I'm running separately, I'm keeping them separate. So for that purpose, I'm defining it here. Without defining also it will work, because previously we have executed, so it will be present. But as part of best practice, if you are keeping all these things separately, then make sure to define the checkout. Okay, so here it is completed, but the problem that you saw, key now these two are looking like a single stage. So what we want to do, we want to make sure ki gitleaks scan should be executed only after compilation has been done. So in that case, what we have to do, we can add a need option. I'll show you. If I open this again, click here, I go to here on the gitleaks scan stage, and here I will write needs compile. Now basically GitHub action will understand कि gitleaks scan stage will only start if the compile stage has been completed. So if I commit this now, you'll be able to see a different format now. If I go to actions, the pipeline workflow, you can see now compilation stage is here and git scan is here. That means git scan will only start if compilation has been completed. Okay, because we have added this part, needs. This is a very useful thing. Okay, so so these two stages are done. One more thing, one interesting thing you'll be able to understand ki previously in Jenkins also, like if I want to use git, if I want to use 𝗏𝗏, I have to manually install them on Jenkins, right? But here we just have to use the actions and they are available for usage. Okay, so this is done. Next step, what we want to do, we want to add 𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏 again, if you want to use, you can search it on Actions Marketplace and you'll be able to get the steps that you want to use. Steps like this. Where is it? You can see here, this is how you can use. First, you have to use this. This is the action that is going to make the 𝗏𝗏 available for usage. And then we define what we want to use, what we want to scan. Here, what you can see, image ref. That means here, this step is basically with reference to scanning Docker image. Okay. Format we can define exit code 1. Exit code 1 again means ki if 𝗏𝗏 finds out any vulnerability, then it's going to fail. It's going to abort the rest of the stages. Ignore unfixed true. That basically means ki if there are any specific dependencies or vulnerabilities that are not fixed as of now, 𝗏𝗏 is going to ignore them. Vulnerability type, what kind of vulnerability you want to scan, like different kind of dependencies or libraries and different kind of OS packages, whatever we are using. And then severity. So when you scan like when you try to find out different kind of vulnerabilities within your source code, within your dependencies or your like Docker images, so it gives the 𝗏𝗏 is going to output the result in different criticality order. For example, medium level, lower level, like that. But we try to focus on critical vulnerabilities and high level vulnerabilities. Okay, similar kind of thing, this is with respect to Docker image. But if you scroll down, you'll be able to find the steps for file system scan type also. So we are going to do that. How we can do, again, stage, this will be the stage name, runs on agent 1. And now I want that git 𝗏𝗏 file system scan should be executed only after git scan has completed. So for that we will add needs git scan, the stage name. In steps, what we have to do, first I'm running the checkout command. Secondly, I'm adding the action 𝗏𝗏 action, which is going to make the 𝗏𝗏 available. And then with, we are going to write different arguments. What arguments? Scan type fs means file system, scan reference means path which you want to scan, format tabular format, we want the result, ignore unfixed, true, vulnerability type, different like OS packages if they are available. OS we can remove also because it is specific to Docker images, and libraries. And this will be the severity. So we can directly add this as well. Again, see, benefit we are getting here ki we don't have to manually get the 𝗏𝗏 zip package and install it on our runner. We can directly add the actions and it will work. So let's add this as well. Okay, so this will also work. Now, after 𝗏𝗏, what we have to do? After 𝗏𝗏, we are going to proceed with SonarQube analysis. Okay, so meanwhile, let me run this and let us set up SonarQube as well. So let me create one more VM where we'll be setting up our SonarQube. Give me 1 second. It requires some FA code, I guess. Sorry guys, little bit. Okay. So let us create a VM which will be SonarQube Ubuntu machine. Version is 24.04, which is fine. Instance type we are going to create T2 medium. Key pair we can select. See, whenever you create a virtual machine, if you are doing this for the first time, you can create a key pair. You can provide the name, key pair type as RSA, and use the PEM format file. If you are doing this for the first time, it will give you an option to download it. But since I have already downloaded, so it is available on my local. Security group, we can use the one that we have already all that the one that I already showed you. Just need to make sure ki port 22 and 9000 is open, and here storage I can give as 25, which should be more than enough. Let's quickly set up our SonarQube. I'll copy this, and here let's create a duplicate session, rename the session, rename it to SonarQube, and we will change the public IP because username will be same and the private key will be same, right? So we'll just click on OK and let us connect to this. Okay, connected. Again, first command, as you remember, sudo apt update. And we are going to be setting up SonarQube using Docker because that is the easiest possible way. Obviously, in companies we are going to be setting up. Generally, in our project, we used to set SonarQube inside Kubernetes as pods, but here I'll be setting up inside using Docker container. So let's wait for this to complete. Okay, this is done. So first let us install Docker, and I can check Docker is not present, but we will use this command to install Docker. And by default, only root user has permission to execute Docker commands. So we are going to give permission to Ubuntu user to execute Docker commands. How we can do that? By adding the Ubuntu user to Docker group. For that, you can execute sudo usermod -a capital G, then Docker group, and then Ubuntu user. What it's going to do, it's going to add Ubuntu user to Docker group so that whatever permissions is available to Docker group will be given to Ubuntu user also, right? And for these changes to be applied immediately, we can execute new group Docker. Okay, and now we can execute Docker command to set up or create a Docker container for SonarQube. We can run Docker run -d in order to run in detached mode, basically in background. We can define port information. Host port will be 9000. Host port means the port on this VM, then container port, which is also going to be 9000. Container port means the port on the container, and then we can provide the Docker image name SonarQube LTS dash community. Community is basically LTS community version is the free version. There are multiple version of SonarQube: paid version, enterprise version, developer version, and this is the free version. Okay. So let's wait for this as well. And meanwhile, we can check the status on our pipeline. I guess it should be completed as well. Okay, yeah. So these three stages are successful now. Coming back, SonarQube is created. We can access SonarQube by getting the public IP, and it will be running on port 9000. So we will provide that colon 9000, click enter, and default username password for SonarQube will be admin. So we are going to use that. Let's wait for some time. Again, you can see here SonarQube. You can go to official actions of SonarQube, and there you will be able to find these steps that you want to add in your pipeline. Okay. Okay. So I'll log in with this username and password. Login, old password and new password. we can provide an update. Okay. So now SonarQube is also set up, and we can discuss how we can add the SonarQube stage. Okay. So if I want to add SonarQube stage in my GitHub Actions pipeline, what things will be needing? First, we need to have the Sonar URL, which is the IP colon 9000. Second thing we'll be needing sonar dot token, basically the token or the token or password to access, but instead of password we use token. So token we have to generate inside SonarQube. So these two are the mandatory things that we need to have. Other than that, we can use the project name, project key, which folders we want to exclude. All these things we can add. If I show you the example again, guys, see, whatever steps that I'm showing, it's simply picked up from here, from these places only. Okay. So I have written two steps for SonarQube front end and back end. You can see this is the stage name, agent where it needs to run, needs trivy. Basically needs means ki after trivy we want to run SonarQube. We want to perform the cloning of the repo. Then we want to use this. Now what exactly is this? It basically is the action for uh, adding this SonarQube scanner. Okay. Now why I'm saying scanner? See, SonarQube I have told previously also, like SonarQube you can consider it in two parts. One thing which is server, the one that I showed you, the one that we set up is the server. This thing that you see here, this is SonarQube server. Then we have SonarQube scanner. Scanner is what? So when you want to perform the SonarQube analysis, this is the tool that is going to perform the scanning, generate the report, and then it uploads the report to SonarQube server. So SonarQube server we have set up, scanner we have to set up. Again, to set up scanner or use scanner, you can simply, where is it? You can simply add the action. What it's going to do, it's going to set up the action. Then we define some arguments below this. What arguments we define? First, project based directory, because I have two specific folders in our source code: client folder and API folder. Client folder is the front end, API is the back end, right? So base directory is this, and then specific arguments that we want to use: the project key, project name, sonar sources means in the current directory, means inside the client directory, scan everything. And then we have exclusions. These are exclusions means what folders or files we don't want to scan. First, what we don't want to scan: node modules, because node modules are the directory when you install all the dependencies. So all those dependencies will be stored here, which is not of like, there is no point in scanning those. This folder, again, it's a byproduct kind of thing. Build folder, it is also a byproduct kind of thing. So we don't want to scan these, so we can add them in exclusions. Okay. Next thing, we have to provide sonar token and host URL, which I told you. Where is, sorry, which I told you, these two things, URL and token, right? That we need to provide. Same thing we have to do with respect to backend. The only thing that we are going to change is the project based directory. Previously, like in the older version of Actions, you could use working directory like that, but at this point we are using project based directory, and same thing we are using here. Okay. So we can add this also, but again, here you see this thing, secrets. Okay. So secrets means, basically, obviously you can understand key, it is not a good option that we want to expose the token or the sonar URL. So we need to add them in the form of secrets. And this GitHub Actions provides you by default way to add the secrets directly and very securely. So first we are going to add our stages here. Okay. And before I commit it, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to open this in new page. I'll go to settings. and on left side scroll down to security section. Here you can see secrets and variables. Click on that, click on actions, and this is the place where we can add secrets. Here we are going to be using repository secret, so click on that. Secret name, what is the secret name we are using? Sonar token, right? Sonar token you can write. Then you can go to SonarQube administration, security, users, and here you can see this option tokens. Click on that, provide any name you want, and click on generate. So this generated the token, so we will copy that token and we will add it here and add secret. This is added. One more secret we have to add, which is SonarQube host URL. Just make sure ki spelling is correct. Sonar host URL. Sonar host URL. And now we are going to be copying this whole thing. Copy that and add it here. Okay, I have removed the last slash and click on add secret. So this is done. And now if I commit these changes, then SonarQube analysis will be done on both the folders, the front end and back end. So let us see that as well. I'll execute it. See, every single line that you see here, you'll be able to get here as well. If you can see here, see this section. Once you know ki, okay, which one I have to use over GitHub Actions Marketplace, you just have to modify it little bit. For example, here what we have to modify, we have to modify the project key, organization if you want to add. These are the basic things that you have to modify. Rest is like almost same only. So we have triggered it, and now we can. One more thing, if you see, for Sonar backend, I have written needs Sonar frontend. Sonar frontend needs 𝗔𝗶𝗃 scan, so that each one get executed one by one, and we can check the status here. You can see here it has started. 𝗔𝗶𝗃 scan happening, SonarQube frontend will be happening, and then SonarQube backend. Okay. Also, you'll be able to notice that since we are using the official actions for all the things, so whatever stage we have done, details will be coming like this only. You can see for git leaks, no leaks detected, so it's clearly mentioned that. Okay. For Docker also, like downside only, we'll be able to see what is the update. I can open this and we can go in more detail about what's going on. So trivia, I guess it's completed. Post checkout is happening. Okay. Now Sonar frontend has started. So let us see how it goes. No, Rama. Instead of SonarQube, we don't use GitLeaks. SonarQube is a different thing, and GitLeaks is a different thing. SonarQube basically goes through your source code line by line and find out if there is any kind of bug, vulnerability in your source code. But GitLeaks basically find if there is any sensitive data in the source code. Now here you can see what error did we get. I told you ki the action that we use, this action, Sonar source, Sonar scan action master, it is going to set up SonarQube, where is it, scanner. Okay, but error, if you see, look closely, you'll be able to see what is the error. Unzip not found, because what it was trying to do, it was using a zip package to install Sonar scanner. You can, if I zoom in, you'll be able to see Sonar scanner CLI, right, zip. So because of like unzip not present, so what we can do, we can quickly open our runner in different page, and I can install unzip. That is the only tool that we have to install manually. Rest everything is done like automatically only. So I'll install unzip, and that should fix the issue. So let's wait for this. Capstone project, yes, Dhruv, actually it's added, but it's part of the course, capstone project. Okay, so this is done, and yeah, one more benefit I'll show you. Ki what is the benefit of using this GitHub action? For example, you can see ki out of these stages, SonarQube stage has failed, right? So what we can do in GitHub action, you do have this option. Where is it? Yeah, to rerun the failed job. If you just want to execute the failed job, you can click on rerun failed jobs. And now only SonarQube front end and SonarQube back end will be executed. That is very interesting for me because while working with Jenkins, every time we have to execute all the stages. But here, if previous stages are successful and certain stage has failed, you can simply select that, okay, I want to execute only failed stages and afterwards. So that's what happening here. You can see that is also quite very good option with respect to GitHub Actions. So let's see how it goes. I think the runner might have stopped because it seems here it's, you can see here it's not picking up, I guess. S- Okay, right now it's picked up. System might have hanged little bit, I guess, but yeah, it has started now. And let's see how it goes. Apologies. Argo CD versus GitHub Actions, quite very interesting question. So basically, Argo CD is little bit from security point of view, it's little bit much better because Argo CD itself runs inside the Kubernetes. That means the only thing that Argo CD has to do is just pick up the deployment files for GitHub and directly deploy inside Kubernetes. No, there is no mediator between them. So if you talk about like from security point of view, a better option, Argo CD is like next level thing. A better option, you can say. In Mac, basically, you don't have to use mobile storm. You can directly use the terminal. It works there. Okay, so front end is successful now, and back end should also be successful in a bit. It's okay. So pipeline is successful, and all our stages are successful. Next step, what we have to do, we have to proceed with Docker images building and pushing. So let me explain you that as well. For Docker also, guys, again, you can just search. You can see this is the official action for building and pushing Docker images on GitHub Actions Marketplace. All these steps, complete steps, you'll be able to get from here itself. You just have to like modify a little bit, and that you can, the rest you can directly use in your stage. Okay, so let me show you and let me explain you that as well. So here, this is the name of the Docker backend build and push, runs on Ubuntu latest. Now here, what I'm trying to use here, I'm not going to be using the self-hosted machine. Here I will use a free machine, the runners that is provided by GitHub. Okay, so if I just write Ubuntu latest, automatically GitHub action will understand कि, okay, now this stage of this pipeline I need to build on the shared runner, on the free runner, because this is the label for shared runner. Okay, need sonar backend so that once backend is completed it will execute. Cloning I'm doing using actions checkout. Then what we have to do, we have to do Docker login. Okay, because if I want to push my Docker image to a Docker Hub registry, private or public, I have to make sure ki credentials are available. So here I'll be providing credentials, 2 tokens, Docker Hub username and password. Then these are prerequisites for Docker to work well. And then we have push these actions for pushing. Context you have to provide. So if you are working with backend, I have provided the context as API. This is the you can say build context. Why we need to provide this? Because whatever things are written inside the Docker file, so those things are considered from the specific folder. For example, if I explain you with example, if I go here, the repository, See, inside API folder we have the Docker file. Okay, now whatever things are written, like for example copy dot dot, so this dot means current directory, right? So in current directory I'm just referring to all the things inside the API folder. So this is the context. Okay, so that's what I'm giving, the context I'm giving, that API dot API. Okay, push true, and this is the Docker image name I'm using latest. Generally we use a variable kind of thing, but here I'm using just latest one. Then we provide the location of the Docker file. Same thing we have to do with respect to front end also. Okay, runs on Ubuntu latest. Again, I'm using a free runner here. I'm not using my own agent. Checkout, then login. Okay, see, separately I'm adding so that each stage can be kept separate, and if any specific stage fails, then I can trigger the each stage separately without like causing an issue to other stages. Okay, so let us run this. And one very interesting thing I need to explain you with respect to this. Let me show you. I go to this directory, workflows, node.js.yaml, edit. Add this state, but I'm not committing because here we have to use add the Docker username, right? First, let us add the token. Okay, for that, where we can go? We can go to this settings, secrets, actions, repository secret. Here I can add the token, and here I can provide the password for my Docker Hub registry. Okay, so let me stop screen sharing for a minute, and then we will again continue. Let me add the secret for my own thing. Where is it? Okay, sharing screen again. So okay, here I have added Docker Hub token. I have added in repository secret. What I was saying to you, if you look closely in the pipeline, here we have written secrets.token, but here we have written vars.Docker Hub username. That means the username for Docker Hub we have to add inside variables. So I have to click on variables and repository variable, and here I can provide the username for me, which is this, and name is this one. So depending on what, see, we can use secret also, but as part of best practice we can just go with like keeping the username as variables and token or the password as secrets. Okay, and I can just make sure everything is correct and click on add variable. This much we have added secrets, and here we have added one variable, right? And now we can commit these changes. So now let's wait for how it goes. Now again, it's going to take a little bit of time because we have multiple stages. So meanwhile this is happening, let us do one thing. Let us set up our Kubernetes, because EKS cluster setup will take a little bit of time. So for that, what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a separate VM. Okay, this VM I'm going to call as installer, because I'm going to using Terraform, I'm going to create the EKS cluster, and I'm going to manage my EKS cluster from this VM itself. Okay, so that will be much easier for me to communicate or work with my EKS cluster. So I'll launch instance. Let's provide the name as installer Ubuntu machine, and instance type we can go with T2 medium. Key pair we can select the one that we have on our local, and security group we will select the same one that I have shown you. Storage I'm giving 25, which is actually more than enough, and click on launch instance. Once it is launched, let us connect to this machine. We will go to MoveX term, duplicate the existing session, rename that. We will rename it to installer, change the public IP, because that's the only thing that we have to change. Rest username and private key is same only. So we will now one second, something did I create? One second, let me see. Stop. 55, that seems fine. Ubuntu username is correct. Key is also correct only. Let's see what exactly is the issue. Okay, let me try again, because seems some issue is with that. It's not connecting or what. Okay, let me create new machine again. Instance machine name will be, let's say, guess Terra. Ubuntu machine I am creating. Version is 24.04. Size of the machine will be T2 medium. Key pair we can select. Security group and storage 25. Yeah, let's see. Machine actually takes little bit of time to come in running state. So let's, okay, now it's up and running. First command, as you remember, sudo apt update okay, for setting up the EKS cluster, what we have to do will be using one of my repository which has Terraform code. So let me show you that as well. You can search on my account EKS, and you can go with this one, EKS Terraform, copy, and you can clone it here, git clone this. Now, as I told you, I'll be using this VM to set up EKS cluster. So that means I need to make sure that this VM has enough permission to create the cluster. For that, what we can do, so for that we can create AWS credentials for a specific account, and then give this credential inside the VM, so that this VM has credentials and permission to create the cluster. So for that, you actually have two options which you can go with. One option is that you can create a specific user inside AWS, give different like IAM permissions, and if you can give permissions, then create this user credentials. Okay, for now we are just going to use our root account and we are going to use its credentials. Okay, so how do we get the credentials? We can go to our AWS. Okay, we have some failure, I guess, in pipeline. Face to face auth token expected state from post request. Okay, let me try to run this job. Let's see. Okay, well, okay. So this is happening. I guess it will take a little bit of time. Okay, we will let it be. Meanwhile, we can go to our AWS account, go to here on your profile, click on security credentials, and from here we can create the credentials required. So let's do that as well. One credential already created. In case you are doing this for the first time, you can click on create access key. Let me show you from scratch only. Let me deactivate first. I'll delete it then, and I'll create a fresh one. Click on create access key, check this box and create access key. So now we have the credentials available. Okay. We will come to that later. Okay. So here what we have to do, we have to install AWS CLI first so that we can provide the credentials. So I'll add that. Okay. And here I can run AWS configure, and we can provide the credentials that we have just created. So first access key, then secret access key, which you can copy from here and paste it here. Then you can provide the uh, location. So for me, AP-South-1. Okay. And just click enter. So now this VM is connected to the uh, AWS account, and now we have the permission to execute or to create the cluster. Okay, next thing what I'm going to do is install Terraform, because that's what we'll be using to create the cluster. So I'll be installing that. Okay, let's wait for this. Okay, and we can go inside the directory, and here we can run first Terraform init to initialize, and after that we are going to execute the command to create the cluster. So let's wait for that. Okay, here we can run Terraform apply auto dash approve. Okay, because generally if I don't add the auto approve, then it's going to give us a prompt and ask permission. So I don't want to entertain any kind of prompt. So I'll just proceed, and this is going to take some time, and it's going to create the cluster. So let's see. And this is going to take some time because it's going to create around 17 resources. So this will take a little bit of time. Okay, meanwhile we can check the issue that we were facing. Auth docker push. Its authentication issue it's showing. Let us see. Docker Hub username, Docker Hub token. Let me see if anything is missed. Let me try. Okay, so now let me try to run it again. I'll just add one extra space to commit the changes and trigger it. Let me check the username also if it is correct. 𝗖𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, it seems fine. Okay, so let's wait for it. It might take a little bit of time to complete. Side by side, we can see the progress here as well. This is going to take, again, it's little bit of time. This was previously created. We are going to be creating this as well. This is a service account creation. So I'm just deleting it so that we can create it fresh from scratch. Okay. So now let's see. Meanwhile, let's see if you have any queries, guys. Meanwhile, this is happening. Let us see if you have any queries. Secure Vault for secret management. Yes, Vedant, we can use HashiCorp Vault also. Actually, I have covered it in detail in my course. The prod version of HashiCorp Vault plus Dev version, both of them I have covered. Yes, and instead of storing secrets in GitHub repository, GitHub repository secrets, you can use HashiCorp Vault. But again, that will be a little bit more tricky because storing secrets somewhere else, and then you have to use them in GitHub Actions. So you have to refer them. The code will be a little bit longer, but it will work. Kashif, I'm not sure actually whatever options we have for payment that is already available. And payment options is actually not in my hand. So the platform that I use, uh, like they only handle it. So whatever option is available, those one options we have. Uh, Olalikan, what is the server runner? So that is a VM that I have added as a runner for my GitHub Actions. So all these stages that you see in my pipeline, they are running on that VM. Just to be sure, did you clone the EKS Git repo to instance and CD into the folder? Yes, I cloned it on a separate VM, third VM. Naveen, we could use actually this SHA as parameter. We could use in many places. I think in Docker tag also we could use. As of now, I'm not using that, but okay, let's see here. Docker. Emmanuel, you can actually pay. I think using credit or debit card, you can pay. You have that option. Okay, now it's work. I guess last time previously, I guess the Docker password, I guess I might have given wrong. That's why it was not working. But as soon as I give the correct password for Docker secret, then it's working. Yes, Emmanuel, you can pay using credit card or debit card. I think my team will ping my contact number. You can ping on WhatsApp for details. Okay, guys. So here, Docker images are also built. Now, before we deploy the changes to to Kubernetes, what we want to do, we want to make sure that these images are also scanned. So for that, we could use Trivy. Okay. Again, for scanning Docker image as using 𝗏𝗏, same kind of stage we are using. First, uh, using the actions checkout for cloning, using 𝗏𝗏 action for making sure that 𝗏𝗏 is available. This time we are using scan type image reference, the image name, format, exit code 0. That means ki even if any kind of vulnerability is found, we don't want to fail our pipeline. Okay. Ignore unfixed true. That means ki if any vulnerabilities are found whose fix is not available, then we want to ignore that. And vulnerability type will be this. Similarly, this will be for backend. I think, yeah, we are providing backend image and here front end image. So we can add this as well. And let me add it in my pipeline stage. Okay, so we can execute this as well. Yes, Naveen, we can run manually also. In that, for that case, we can just remove, like in branches, you can write none, none, none. That means ki for no branch we are referring, or you can simply remove this thing. So in that case, you have to manually trigger the pipeline anytime you want to run. See, I'm trying to showcase like most features of this. Uday, it will be valid for 3 years, I think. And okay, so this is running. It will take a little bit of time, so we will wait for this to complete. That's it. Difference between Argo CD and GitHub Actions. See, GitHub Actions is CI/CD. Both of the things you can do directly from GitHub itself. Argo CD is a specific tool. It is not for building the application. It is for deploying the application. I'll show you in simple example how Argo CD works. I'll be making one video also, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, on Argo CD. But in simple example, I'll tell you. Let us say this is my GitHub. Okay, and inside GitHub, this is GitHub, and let's say this is Kubernetes. Okay, now Argo CD basically deploy Argo CD is deployed inside Kubernetes itself. Okay, the way that it will work, let's say ki inside GitHub, this is your repo. This repo contains the manifest file. Manifest file means deployment.yaml, service.yaml, ingress.yaml, all those files. Argo CD, what it does, you just need to connect your Argo CD to your specific repository. And the way that it's going to work, and let's say this is another namespace inside Kubernetes, which is for application. Okay. So the way that Argo CD will work, it is whatever files you are kept here, manifest. If those files are updated or changed, immediately and automatically Argo CD is going to pick up that, and it's going to, whatever new files or updated files are there, using that it's going to update the deployment also. Means it's going to deploy the changes directly to app. Benefit you can understand here ki previously, if I'm using Jenkins is a mediator who will first go to GitHub to get the file, and then it's going to go to Kubernetes for deployment. So it's a mediator. Since there is a mediator, there could be a possibility of some kind of issues. But here there is no mediator. The files are here, Argo CD inside Kubernetes directly pick up from there, deploy to application. That is the benefit of using Argo CD. From security point of view, it's a very good option. Okay, pipeline are running, and let's see the status. Okay, so our cluster has been also set up. So now once cluster has been set up, we have to do few more configurations in order to make sure the cluster is ready for usage. For that, what we have to do, first we are going to set up the kube config file so that we can access the cluster. So you can run the command aws eks update kubeconfig. Update will execute it, and this kubeconfig file is created here, ubuntu.kubeconfig. Note this file because it will be required later on. Okay, and okay, so kubeconfig file is created. Next thing what we have to do, we have to install kubectl so that we can communicate with the cluster. Kubectl is a CLI tool, right? So we will install that as well. After that, we are going to install 𝗖𝗂𝗃. Why we need to have 𝗖𝗂𝗃 as well? Because there will be certain resources we are going to create. For example, the thing is ki inside this application we have to create some volumes also. For our application we are creating certain volumes, and those volumes will be handled or managed by a separate service account. So that service account we are going to create using 𝗖𝗂𝗃. Now note that Terraform is a IAC tool. 𝗖𝗂𝗃 is a tool ki if you want to do something, if you want to create any kind of resource using 𝗖𝗂𝗃, it's going to send the request to CloudFormation, another resource inside AWS, which is another kind of IAC tool. Okay, so 𝗖𝗂𝗃 we have installed. Next thing what we have to do, we are going to execute this command 𝗖𝗂𝗃 utils associate IAM 𝗦𝗍𝒻 provider. It is basically going to make sure that the resources within Kubernetes can assume IAM roles, because that will be needed if they want to provision resources over AWS platform. So we will execute that as well, and then we are going to create a service account which will be responsible for creating and managing the volumes. Okay, service account will be named as EBS CSI controller service account. Now once I execute the command using 𝗖𝗂𝗃, what is going to happen if I show you on a CloudFormation page on the AWS CloudFormation? This is the specific resource that is like IAC tool kind of thing. You can see here create in progress. It's creating the service account. So when I run the command using 𝗖𝗂𝗃, that request is going to be forwarded to CloudFormation. Okay, that's what happening here, and we can see the progress here. So once it is done, then we can proceed. Meanwhile, yeah, it is done. Next thing what we have to do, we have to install three kind of other resources. First, ingress, then EBS CSI driver and sort manager, because we are going to be using ingress also, and we are going to be using certificates also for our SSL certificate for our application. So I'm going to execute this as well. All these commands actually are available on GitHub repository. You can just follow them from there. Okay, this is done. Final stage that we have to use, if I show you directly, deploy to Kubernetes, but it's little bit different. How it's different, let me explain you. Let me copy from here, then Godfred, someone will paste my WhatsApp number here in chat. You can just go through it. I hope my team is also available, so someone from my team will paste it. Okay, so let us understand what exactly is happening and how exactly we can use the deployment to Kubernetes. Okay, so there are few sections in this code, in this piece of code. See here, it seems very complex, but if I sorry, if I tell you in short what things we have added. Okay, so I'll tell you. One second, give me. First, what we have, checkout code. Second, we have AWS CLI. Now, Emmanuel country code might be +91. Okay. One question you might think, Aditya, below somewhere we are using kubeconfig. Okay. Now, most of you already know that in most cases, kubeconfig can be used as authentication for performing deployment to Kubernetes cluster. But here, if we are already using kubeconfig, then for what reason we are installing AWS CLI and for what purpose we are using AWS access key and secret access key. So let me tell you something. Basically, what happens, kubeconfig file, if you have a kubeconfig file that has proper credentials for performing the deployment, then you can directly use kubeconfig file for authentication. But in our case, if I show you the kubeconfig file, then it will be a little bit more clear for everyone. Where exactly it was? cat/home ubuntu.kube config. Okay, so this is my kubeconfig file. It has most of the details, but here if you look closely, exec. Okay, what basically our kubeconfig file it does, whenever if I want to use it, every time it has to execute a command to get a short-lived temporary token from our cluster. So for that purpose, because does not have a static credential that can be used regularly, it is using a short time lived token for authentication. So means ki every time I execute the command for like for deployment to Kubernetes, it's going to be needing that token. Okay, because our kubeconfig file does not have a static credential. Okay, so for that purpose we have to provide the AWS access key and secret access key, so that those this token fetching thing can be done without any issue. Okay, other than that, here also what I'm doing, we have to add the kubeconfig also, because it will be needed, both of them are required here. So I will add the stages. Again, this is also coming from the what is that, this is also coming from GitHub Actions only. We just have to modify a little bit. So I'll modify this and let's go at the end, and here we will add it. Okay, what things we have to add? First of all, we have to add the AWS access key ID. So I'll copy that and I will go to settings, secrets, actions, secrets, click on new repository secret, access key ID, which is this one. You can add it here. Second thing we have to add is secret access key. So we will copy that as well. And secret we have to add. So that also we are already having. We will copy that and add it here. Right. Next thing what we have to add, we have to add the kubeconfig file also, because that will also be needed. See, in some cases, you could use kubeconfig directly, but in that cases, kubeconfig should be having a static credential that can be used directly throughout. But in our case, it does not have a static credential. It is using AWS CLI only to run and execute a command to fetch a token, short-lived token. Okay, so we have to, yeah, for that purpose, we have to add both of them. So here another secret, which will be kubeconfig, whose value you can just pick up from here. We just search it here and we will copy it from there till here. I'll copy that and I'll paste it here. Add secret. Okay, so these things are added, and rest, these are the locations of all the files. Talking about what files we are having in our source code, let me show you. First we have MySQL YAML. So MySQL we are using, which will be like a database for our application. We are using a stateful set. Then we have backend.yaml, which will be like API for us, again for deployment and servers. Then we have frontend. Then we have CI, which is cluster issuer. This will be responsible for generating the SSL certificate. Then we have ingress, so that we can map our custom domain. For example, I want that my application should be accessible on this URL, @aaadityajaswal.com. Okay, so for that we'll be using ingress. I'm not going in detail with respect to these files because focusing on deployment as of now. In short, you can understand here if I show you. uh, First, in rule section we have to define key, like on the custom domain what will be pointing what. For example, host is this one, slash API. Slash API means it will be pointing to backend service, port 3000. Just slash will be pointing to front end, which will be the entry point. Okay, and same thing we are doing for www.adityajaiswal.com, same thing. Okay, this much, and we can let us commit and let's see how it goes. Now once this is done, after that also we have to do some changes over this DNS. Okay, meanwhile this is happening because this is ongoing, it will take a little bit of time to complete. Meanwhile, let me explain you about the DNS configuration, what changes we have to do. So in DNS configuration, two things you should know. A record, these are records, these are known as records. A record and CNAME record. Note one thing. In A record, we have written in data a IP address. In CNAME record, we have written a URL. So let me explain you what exactly happening here and what we need to understand. Let us say that I am deploying my application inside AKS. Okay, Azure Kubernetes Service. Here, if I deploy, let's say I deploy an application and I want to create the load balancer. Okay, it's going to generate an external IP. External IP. Okay, it will be some IP. Note that when we deploy our application inside EKS, and we generate a load balancer for any application, it's going to generate a URL. So these two things you can understand ki they may be pointing to same thing, but they are different because it's basically like face value kind of thing is different. This is IP, this is URL, they are pointing to same thing. So my requirement is that I want that my application should be accessible on this URL first, adityajaiswal.com, and it should be accessible to this as well, www.adityajaiswal.com. Okay, for this part we have to focus CNAME. That means ki we can add the URL, this URL, right? For this part where we don't have like www, we basically use like this. We use first of all a record, and there we write this @ and here I have to add the IP. That's what has been happening here. If I show you again, you can see here in CNAME, name is www and URL, a record and IP. Now one question you might think, Aditya, since we are using EKS cluster, so here we might not get the IP. In that case, what we should be doing? In that case, we are creating ingress, right? It will generate an address. This will be a URL. So URL is available, so we can add it to CNAME. That is fine. Talking about a record, what we are going to do, we are going to run a command like this: ns lookup and the URL. So now what it's going to do, it's going to generate the output. It's going to give you a IP. This URL's IP. So once you have this IP, you can add it to a record, and in this way you'll be able to solve the issue. Okay. So now let us get back to our pipeline. Let us see the status. It will take a little bit of time, I guess. Docker backend is done, front end is happening. Okay. Meanwhile, guys, again, actually, by tomorrow EOD, the coupon will be expired for our batch. So if for whoever who wants to enroll, you can just go through by today. because see, this is the first time we have added complete batch chain access, 120 plus hours of content. Today only I was seeing there was some course, someone was selling course around for price 60,000. I don't understand like why they would charge that much, but what can I say? So yeah, batch 10 120 plus hours of content is there. Live class on weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Python for DevOps, complete thing. Cloud DevOps, where we have multiple projects. I think around 10 projects we have in Cloud DevOps also. DevSecOps, complete security. And from security point of view, we have used so many tools and concepts. We have Chekhov, we have Git leaks, we have HashiCorp Vault, and other tools that are very common tools, but they are available and different concepts. 40 plus project. These projects are real world projects. They are not hello world kind of project. And many project out of these 40 you can directly add to your resume as well. One-to-one interview guidance. If you are getting started to prepare, you can connect to me. If your interview getting scheduled, you can connect to me. You can connect to me for resume review and guidance. Preparation documents are available. These are immediately accessible, 150 plus documents, plus more documents I'll be sharing. Dedicated private Discord server. A Discord separate Discord server will be available where you can put your queries or doubts, plus anything new happening, I'll just update there as well. So yeah, if interested, you can just go through it. All the details will be in the description, comment section. I think I already added. You can go through that. Okay. Coming back to our pipeline. Vedant, when you talk about like changes in manifest files, so see, Argo CD is mainly going to look if there is any kind of like, see, you can define, like generally we define key push happened in the repository or specific branch. If we define that, Argo CD sees that and it's going to pick up. Deadline for $103 price offer. Emmanuel, by tomorrow EOD, the coupon will expire actually. So you can go. Okay, we have some error. Let us see what error we are getting. Okay, error loading this. I think we have copied the file little bit wrongly. Let me correct it. This. Okay, let me try again and let me just modify the specific part. Okay, let me try to. Second, let's see. I think the files is not correctly added, I believe. Because of that, it's getting error. Let me try to do it manually. Okay, let me run this one more time. Let's see how it goes. Just trigger it. Okay, it will take a little bit of time. Meanwhile, guys, any other questions, if anyone having, you can ask. Base 64, actually, Naveen, previously also I have ran this pipeline. It did work previously. And at the time, this base 64 was not required. But let's see. If it works, fine. If not, then we'll try with base 64 as well. Okay. Okay, once we will try this one time. After that, we will just proceed with the base64 one. One second, let me get the base64 encoded value, and then we could use this. These kind of pipelines take a little bit longer to do, and let's see. Yes, recording of this session will also be available for you to watch later, which you can watch. Let's see if it runs for this time, then fine. If not, then we will proceed with the base64 one, and let's see how it goes then. Even Trivi is taking a little bit longer time than expected. How your real-time project will help? Chaitanya, see projects, the projects that I have added, these are not like Hello World kind of project. We have multiple capstone project, basically integrating everything. In that case, we are setting up even SonarQube inside Kubernetes cluster, and I'll be showing things with respect to what uh, I have seen in my company. Okay, let us try with the base64 one, and let's see how it goes. I hope this works, or else I have to check separately, guys. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, let us see. Okay, I have triggered. Chaitanya, I would request you to. Yes, but decode command I have not added. I have separately added Praveen. Sorry, Naveen. In secret, I have added as encoded, and the command here I have used decoding command base64-d. So eventually, the file should be available in proper format, in correct format. That's what at least we are expecting, but let's see. Yes, Chaitanya, I would request you to go through the project list. You will understand what kind of projects we are going to be implementing and what kind of projects are already available. Because this session went longer than expected actually. But yeah. Also, guys, all the files and whatever code I'm using, you'll be able to get it inside the repository, which is already public. So you can also implement the same thing. Obviously, you have to modify a few things like your own credentials and Sonar credentials, those things. But yeah, you can implement it. See, sometimes if a runner is getting stuck a little bit, I believe this is because it might be a little bit slow. Yes, Navin, for sure. See, in when you are doing things in lower environment, generally people don't integrate everything. In lower environment, primary task is to deploy and check if the deployment is working or not. If like this code that we have deployed that is working or not. So in lower environment, for sure you can do that. Apologies. Okay, I guess we are in Docker build stages. Meanwhile, any other questions, guys, if you are having, you can ask me. I am also side by side seeing the chat, so I can answer a few of them. What about GitLab or Jenkins? In my opinion, guys, Jenkins is also good. In many companies, it's being used, especially like companies that are like basically old projects, because many clients are like that. They won't transition to GitLab or like that. But in my opinion, at this point, GitLab CI/CD and GitHub Actions is one of the like most widely used at this point. Vedant, to be very frank, I'll tell you with respect to one of the project I worked, we did use Terraform and Ansible, but we specifically used it just for provisioning VMs for client. Using Terraform, we did not created the cluster. The cluster was created by separately, like kind of manually it was created. It again, these things depend. These things can differ company to company. What company? Some company will prefer to use Terraform for using automation to set up the clusters and manage it. Some companies would prefer to use basic script or just manual handling of these things. So it can vary from company to company. Zayed Pathan, you can refer one of my previous GitHub Actions videos where I have shown a Java based application. So you can refer that. Okay. Previous issue is resolved, but we have small issue. Prod namespace is not found, so we can fix that immediately. We can go to installer VM and I can run the command kubectl create ns prod. Okay, now namespace is created. So let us do one thing. Let us just run the failed stage. That means just the uh this one, deployment to Kubernetes stage. So that should not take much time. And yeah, so it's running, and now this should be able to fix the issue. And yeah, don't run away. Actually, there are a few things pending that you need to really understand, because once deployment is done, we need to understand how we configure the domain, how we map the custom domain, how we make sure ki our certificates are visible. Okay, so deployment, you can see it is done. Let us verify the few things. We can run kubectl. See, just for those who are thinking ki why did I create prod namespace, because that's what we have defined in our YAML manifest file. If I show you that as well, for example, this backend file, you'll be able to see it is getting deployed to namespace prod. Okay. Yes, Vedant, we can add infrastructure provisioning GitHub Actions also. Okay, so kubectl get ingress, or maybe first let us check get all -n prod. So here you can see all the pods are running, up and running, everything is running, right? Next thing that we have to search for is check kubectl get ingress -n prod namespace. Okay, let me, now you can see here this address that you see, this is the main address that we have to add in our custom domain. But before that, let me just explain you a few more things. This is our URL, right? Ingress address URL. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now this is the custom URL, right? Next thing what I'm going to do, as I told you, this custom URL is also having its own IP. So for that, I told you the command you can run ns lookup and the URL, and you can see this is the address. Now I can copy this IP, not the server and address, not that, this one. Okay, so I'll copy that and I will paste it here. Now I told you when we are talking about when it came to mapping the custom domain. So if you remember, I told you if it's a URL, you should be putting it in CNAME. If it's a IP, you should be putting it in a record, right? So let us do that. So first, I'll copy the CNAME, this IP, sorry, this URL. I'll copy that, and I will go to DNS, CNAME, click on edit, remove the previous one, and add it. Just to let you know guys, in case if you are not seeing this option, then just click on like this key, add new record, select CNAME record, name will be www, and then you add this, click on save, and now it will ask for verification. So I'll click on continue and verify, and I'll be receiving a email with code, I guess. Let me wait for this. Okay, so the coupon code is 64554. We will verify. Added, right? Next thing what I have to modify is a record. Again, click on edit, and here name will be at the rate only. IP we have to modify. What IP we have received? This one, right? So I'll copy that. This IP came using ns lookup command. I'll copy that and I will paste it here. Click on save, verify again. So let's wait for this. Okay, so we have the new code. Click on verify. Okay, now these changes once you add, so they might take little bit of time to like basically reflect. Okay, how we can check it? We can run what's my DNS. This is a website where you can check. For example, you can see if I run, if I put this, select the record type as a record, click on search. So you can see this is the correct IP 13 126 to 17 18. At few places it's still showing wrong one, but it will take little bit of time to completely come into proper. So we will check for www, and when we are using www we have to work with cname. Click on search and you can see now it's pointing to 𝗂𝗃_F6. Let me confirm, 𝗂𝗃_F6, that is correct. Okay, as of now we can check things here like that, 𝗬𝗏𝗃_𝗀𝗃_𝗃. If I click on advance this, so now application is deployed, but you can see as of now we don't have the SSL certificate, right? How we can fix that? Application is running fine, that is fine. Like coming back here, so first what we are going to do, we are going to check details, kubectl get certificates -n prod. Here we can see ready state, it's showing false. Right? Apologies guys. So now what we are going to do, we are going to describe it to get more details. So we can run kubectl describe certificate, this one n prod. Okay, so here one second, let me make it a little bit smaller, which is should make details. Certificate as stored, just created new certificate request so and so. Okay, what generally in this case what I would suggest you can do, you can basically delete the certificate and delete the certificate. That should be able to fix the issue, that should be able to create a new one. And let's see, sort manager, it's deleted. And we are going to be deleting the certificate request also, the old one, so that everything gets started fresh. Okay, so let us get the certificates and let's wait for some time because it's just been 39 seconds. So let's see how it goes. Meanwhile we can get here also. You can see here now issuing. Okay, so we have to wait for a few more minutes I guess, and it should be available to us, the certificate. Previously status was false only. Okay, so as of now status is issuing. So yeah, I guess it is getting created. Let's see. Here it does say he created new certificate request resource so and so. Still it is saying issuing only. Okay, let's wait for a few more minutes and then we will close it. If it does not work, I'll try one more time. But yeah, let's. So I have just deleted previous the certificate request and previous certificate because I believe it might have stuck somewhere, because here it does say status true and issuing also, but not sure like for what purpose it was stuck. Let's see one more time. Okay, let me check few more things actually. Let me check guys a little bit more detail what exactly is the issue. We'll try a few more minutes and then we will just close it. I'll check the issue separately and then I'll upload the video on the same thing. Issue is fixed, guys. So just now, after deleting the like, it took some time, almost around 8 minutes. But yeah, if you can see the screen, it's available and connection secure and certificate is valid also. I hope screen is visible. So only solution we can do is like in Git, it if it is like stuck for longer time, delete the certificate and it should be restart, like recreation of certificate should be done, so that should be able to fix the issue. Okay. Sorry, it took a little bit longer than expected. Okay. Also guys, any other question if you have, we can take questions now. Let me open the comments. Okay. Any other questions you guys, if you guys having, you can just put it in uh, chat. I'll be able to check that. Okay. Meanwhile, also just to let you know, we just hit 60,000 followers on LinkedIn. That was quite great thing to hear. You can put your questions, guys. If you have any questions, you can just put the questions. uh, okay. I'm also pasting details of our course along with a contact number, so you can put details there. 1 second. Any suggestion of the kind of projects we can add to resume for 4-year experience? Ananta, in my opinion, one IAC project should be there, because at this point it's like highly in demand. The IAC project, very high in demand. And along with that, one capstone project should be there. Capstone project means you are integrating everything. You are doing monitoring, observability, you are doing IAC, you are using in the same project, proper CICD, HashiCorp, vault, secrets, everything you are using, that should be a capstone project. These two projects should be there. In addition to that, I would recommend add one more project from cloud side, because at this point many companies prefer to use cloud, and if you are showcasing knowledge that you have good knowledge over cloud, it will be really useful. Okay. So this thing, plus you can refer my previous video. I think I have showcased what kind of projects you can add. Please, sorry. Are you sure, Emmanuel? You can just ping me on the WhatsApp number. I'm pasting my WhatsApp number. You can ping there. Someone will connect. Sergio, I'm currently in system administrator, cloud administrator. Would you go for? Sergio, it's purely up to you. But in my opinion, see, if I get the opportunity to go with cloud or DevOps, that much only I try to go with. Which cloud? So, Rahul, what I would suggest in talking about which cloud, in my opinion, see, AWS is maximum market share, covering maximum market share, Azure covering second max market share. So, either one of them you can go with, it's fine. Either AWS or Azure. In my opinion, since as compared to Azure and AWS, GCP is not that much market share. So, I wouldn't suggest for GCP, but AWS or Azure, anyone we can choose. Your opinion about cloud ops versus DevOps engineer? See, to be very frank, Bala Surya, at this point, I would recommend to go with both of them. That's why I see. That's why in course also I keep saying ki you should be having very good knowledge on cloud DevOps part also, and like normal DevOps, like where we use the on-prem tools and technology, and where in cloud DevOps where we use all the cloud resources. Both of them, if possible, you should. If you're having that level of skills, it's really good. Opportunities will be much better because then you are expanding in both sections, right? Cloud also you are having good knowledge. MLOps is replaced DevOps. That I cannot say for sure as of now, Rahul. See, to everyone, I'm saying ki if you are learning DevOps, if you are if you want to work in DevOps, do not be like that. Ki only I learn Jenkins or few tools. Try to focus and expand over cloud also, because cloud is like at this point is like most of the companies are using cloud for different, because using different kind of resources over cloud, it does like cost, but it reduces the manual effort. You have to put very less effort. Uh, Aditya, you can go to website. I'll post the web. Wait, let me give you the URL also. This is course URL I have pasted. You can just go that, or you can just go to this website. 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃 currently market use or not? I don't think like at this point anyone is using 𝗟𝗃𝗃. See, for self-learning, for set understanding how to set up local Kubernetes, that is fine. But on production, no. Gaurav, duration of program. So, Gaurav, live classes will be ongoing for 2.5 months, plus immediate access to batch 10 120 plus hours of content is already given. So you can like side by side you are learning live also, plus you are learning, if you are if you have enough time, you can go with learning the content of batch 10 also. So side by side you'll be having multiple options to go with. This is the website. You can go devopshack.com, and there you'll be. See, Nitin, primary, from cloud DevOps part, primary we are covering Azure, but on AWS we are using network services. Then we are using EC2. See, all the implementation will be on EC2 machine. Like if you are using any VM, EC2 machine we will be using. We are using ECR, we are using EKS, and few other resources. But primarily from DevOps part, we are using Azure on cloud DevOps part. See, I'm saying this again. Ki 10th batch, immediate access you will be giving first of all. live on weekends. I think I have written it. So yeah, you can see immediate access to batch 10 live on weekends, Python for DevOps, complete videos, cloud DevOps, where we'll be focusing mainly on Azure, multiple projects with that, DevSecOps, 40 projects. Yeah, so many different kind of projects we have included. And if I try to show you the projects, let me show you the project itself, then it will be a little bit more clear. Yeah, so let us walk through. Starting with, first we have shell script website monitor project, two-tier Java. See, this is something most people usually overlook. The reason that I'm keeping 40 projects, because you'll be learning everything, every kind of thing. Shell script. Then we have two-tier Java, two-tier .NET, two-tier Python, two-tier Node.js. Then we have three-tier .NET with MongoDB, where understand MongoDB, working with MongoDB, different basic commands which should be known by DevOps engineer. Python with Postgres, again Postgres commands you will know. Node.js with MySQL, that also you'll know. Java with MySQL. These are three-tier. Then deployment to Tomcat, Nginx web server with 3 real-world scenarios, integration of 𝗏𝗁𝗃𝗀 with Jenkins, RBAC in Jenkins, role-based access control in Jenkins, how we implement that using LDAP, that also I have shown. Virtual browser project, Kubernetes full stack project. This will be on local Kubernetes. Mega capstone, two capstone project as of now I have added. One will be Kubernetes, one be on EKS, and then Helm chart also integrated, included GitOps, HashiCorp Vault, prod setup, dev setup, both of them. Then database, RDS as our database, like generally we use MySQL or anything, we are using, I have shown with RDS also. GitHub Action, multiple CICD project, Blue Green, two project on Blue Green, one project on Canary deployment, 11 microservice project, highly available local Kubernetes cluster, stateful set, because stateful set, even though we are using, but we don't understand what is the benefit of stateful set. Service mesh is also included with Istio, Ansible VM monitor project, Ansible CI project, Terraform plus Ansible corporate. This is the project that we actually use in our company. Azure DevOps CI/CD, classic pipeline, YAML pipeline, another YAML pipeline, Node.js plus MongoDB on Azure App Service. Guys, tons of projects we are having. If only if you are going to see, if you are going to check out, you will understand how many projects we are actually having. 𝗟𝗁𝗃𝗀 backup of K8 cluster. I think at some point I'll make a video on that as well. Okay, guys, rest of the queries, whatever queries you are having, you can just put up in the comment section. I'll try to answer those things as well. Okay, now it's been quite late, so I'll be logging out now. Any other questions or queries if you are having, you can just send me a mail, or sorry, you can directly ping me on LinkedIn, or you can just put in comment section, so I'll check that. Okay, and yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Have a nice day, and I hope the session was useful. All the details, all the like documents, sorry, all the files and everything is already in repo, which you can refer directly. Okay, so yeah, thank you for joining, guys, and have a nice day. Good night, everyone. And yeah, don't forget to check out the details. We'll be closing the enrollment soon. Okay, thank you, guys. Have a nice day.